Let's move over to wide receivers, and let's look at, of course, the Roto-World player news for wide receivers with Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua. He's placed on IR. He's got a PCL sprain, so, big things ahead already for Cooper Kupp in terms of just being a target monster. Rome Odunze week to week with an MCL sprain. So two very talented wide receivers now going to be down and out for a little while.
Massive fantasy impact with Nacua, not as much with Odunze.
Yeah.
Although, Keenan Allen, who already got a ton of targets in DJ Moore.
Keep it rolling.
Yeah, keep it rolling. You expect them to even increase their target share, but Nacua, just an awful break for somebody that was banged up in the preseason, that was drafted, inside the top 20 in almost every fantasy draft out there. And so now we expect a larger role for certainly Demarcus Robinson. Played 92% of the snaps in week 1. He got 7 targets. That was tied for second on the team. Remember, the Rams love to run 11 personnel.
Yep.
Last year, they ran it more than any other team in the NFL. They ran it 100% of the snaps in week number 1. And so it's going to be Cooper Kupp, it's going to be Demarcus Robinson, and maybe we'll see either some Tyler Johnson or Tutu Atwell. We're still waiting to see sort of how that'll all play out. But in terms of how he ended the season last year, in terms of what he did in week 1, in terms of the amount of snaps he played, and that Demarcus Robinson, when he's gotten a shot, has been productive. To me, he would be the pickup to replace Nacua until, maybe we'll see some Colby Parkinson as well. He's the tight end, and how they distribute the passing game. But Robinson, to me, who's 94% available in Yahoo leagues, to me, he would be the pickup to get to replace Puka Nacua with. But there are some other guys we like a little bit more.
Yeah, Jay, how about Greg Dortch? They're kind of a no-show for Marvin Harrison Jr. in his NFL
Dortch.
debut, but Dortch, the slot receiver for Kyler Murray, 6 catches, 47 yards. He also got a carry for 4 yards as well.
Yep, gets a favorable matchup against the Rams too. Questions about their defense post Aaron Donald era. Trade Davius White did not look fantastic, getting burned by Jameson Williams. Now Dortch is going to be more in the slot, but this is a vulnerable defense for the Rams. And I think there's just uncertainty with the Cardinals, because we penciled in, like, Marvin Harrison was set on DraftKings like 65.5 receiving yards. He gets 1 catch. Like, yeah, we think Marvin Harrison is going to get more of a workload. He kind of has to, but like, how much more of a workload? Is he actually going to be a 70 yards per game guy? Or is perhaps they're going to be more growing pains and he's more 40-50 for a while? We just don't know, and Dortch can soak up some of that uncertainty.
Matthew, Jared Jeudy. Oh, you want to?
I was just going to say that, like, I talked about this in the preseason multiple times, that Greg Dortch, for all the jokes about the human Dortch and everything, like, going to be a thing this year. The fact of the matter, targeted on a team high 31% of his routes. He's had 9 career games with 7 or more targets. He's averaging over 14 fantasy points per game as well. The other thing that's interesting here, there's a real connection between Dortch and Kyler Murray. And if you saw how bad that line played, the Cardinals' offensive line, it's one of the reasons I like Kyler Murray as my ride or die, is because I feel like he's going to be running for his life, and he's going to get you those rushing yards, over 50 rushing yards for Murray against the Bills. But the other thing is that he's having to bail out of routes quickly. He's having to, and that's Dortch, who's around the line of scrimmage. They're force-feeding the ball. They're giving him a couple of different shots. Towards the end, by the way, they took a deep shot to him, which was crazy. He ain't Marvin Harrison. He ain't Trey McBride. The touchdown equity isn't going to be there for Greg Dortch. But if you're in a PPR league where you start 3 wide receivers, Greg Dortch is going to be usable.
Next up, Jerry Jeudy on the Browns. And I know what you're thinking right away. Deshaun Watson does not look good. The Browns have some of their own problems. But, Matthew, this has to be a matchup one against Jacksonville's defense. And he's 55% available.
He had almost a 19% target share against the Cowboys. That was second most on the team. 2 end zone targets, which is crazy. One of the issues of Jerry Jeudy is that he just never scores touchdowns. But here you go, in week 1, new team, new quarterback, scores a touchdown. So maybe the issues that plagued him in terms of scoring in Denver might be solved a little bit here in Cleveland. It's worth noting that only one team in the NFL allowed more yards to opposing wide receivers in week 1 than the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so, yeah, their run game is a little bit banged up. Jerome Ford didn't look great. I think that Jeudy suddenly becomes kind of interesting, but it's just like, if you're telling me, like, he's going to get a 20% target share, like, talented player, maybe it's a, late bloomer for Jerry Jeudy.
A strong week 1 for Brandon Cooks, Jay, and a Dallas wide receiver.
It gets ugly quick, as you see.
Yes. In a really weak Dallas wide receiver room. Jake Ferguson now banged up as well. Cooks 4 for 40 and a touchdown. And available in 67% of leagues.
Yep, 23% target share, just as CeeDee Lamb continues to ramp up. Someone else has to catch passes for this team, and just playing at home in a dome against New Orleans coming up. Like, Brandon Cooks is one of the most kind of unexciting names because he's been around for so long. Brandon Cooks is only 30 years old. He's younger than Cooper Kupp. It feels like he's been around for a million years, but he's just kind of safe, unremarkable production. And with Ferguson, looks like Ferguson's going to give it a go probably and try play through it, but surely he will be reduced somewhat. And Brandon Cooks is just going to give you these games where it's like 5 for 49 and some chance at a touchdown. So that can be valuable in a flex spot in deeper leagues.
Shocking given his size, but he has very quietly scored in 6 of his last 8 games dating back to last year, Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, him and Dak, the timing is there
Yeah.
for Cooks. All right, how about some other wide receiver waiver targets? A little bit lower down the list. Giants wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson against your Commanders, Matthew. If you saw the opening of the show, you know what that secondary looks like. 98% available. Did have 6 catches and even a rush for 14 yards week 1.
I've been waiting for Wan'Dale Robinson for like 3 years.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he might, similar to Dortch, just kind of a PPR cheat code because Daniel Jones,
There's not a lot.
There's not a lot
in that
there.
offense right now. And Brian Dable really does like him. Bengals wide receiver Andre Yosevas against the Chiefs. 88% available. 3 catches, 26 yards. And then Alec Pierce, who caught that bomb from Anthony Richardson. Only 3 catches, but 125 yards and a touchdown. They got Green Bay.
He's the deep threat on a team that is going to be throwing deep, and he had a strong camp, and it paid off, in week number 1. So Pierce is on the list.
Jay, a couple of rookie wide receivers to monitor here. Xavier Legette had 4 catches for 35 yards. Not much from Adonai Mitchell, but we'll see as Josh Downs is still out. He might still play a lot for the Colts. Jalen McMillan, 1 catch for 32 yards. We know Godwin and Evans get so much work in that offense. Devon Vale, 8 catches, 39 yards. Jalen Polk, 1 catch for 6 yards. So a lot of these guys, we're just waiting for them to get more opportunity, it feels like.
Absolutely. I mean, in terms of production, Vale was the guy. But Xavier Legette is somewhat interesting to me. I'm kind of surprised he got that much run. But I think with Legette, just the Panthers are going to be throwing a ton. This is probably, I think this is the worst team in the NFL. And Legette is going to be out there getting run.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.